All right.
You ready?
Yep.
Welcome back. Thank you for your patience. I'm gonna reconvene the meeting and start with our table 4.2, discussion and take action on PPLT, FPLT, and LPLT 2400536. Any comments?
So, yeah,
Any discussion?
yeah, based on, reviewing it, there's 6 land sites, lot sites. 3 of them would be under 5,000 square feet, which would not meet current code, unfortunately. But it seems like you would still be able to develop with your original plat or submit a new one that would, could conform to code. So, it doesn't seem like there's a drainage issue to developing with the original approved plat. So is there y'all have any other comments?
No, I think that's about it.
Yeah.
Just Stephen's gonna come. Stephen?
Sorry, yeah, more,
More.
4.2.
I guess, it was approved as a CUD. We
Mhm.
want to build it as a CUD. Technically, because the existing properties going north and south have changed, it makes more sense to flip it. I mean, that's all we're trying to do.
Yeah,
I know it's a reapplication, and because the current ordinance doesn't have a CUD, it's a variance, but I mean, to me, therein lies kind of a hardship, if you will. We're wanting to do what was approved before. But because of the way things have developed in the time that was approved to now, it doesn't really make sense to do that.
yeah.
I mean, I don't know.
So I mean, in the,
It's not really a drainage issue that it would just work a lot better if we flipped it the way we're wanting to flip it. We match the existing grades on our north and our
Mhm.
south. I mean, the backs of our lots match the top of that retaining wall. Everything slopes to the low side of our lot, which is going to match existing grades on the south side. It's just engineering wise, I don't know why you wouldn't do it this way, so that's why we're trying to do it this way.
I mean, understandable, but it's the city ordinance has pretty specific guidelines on what can constitute a variance. And unfortunately, just, it's
What are those?
easier engineering or whatever. It's, what are those?
Yeah.
Yeah, let me pull it up right now. So it's section 2160.
Yeah, that's it.
I don't know if Nicole wants to.
Here's a copy of it.
So, so if you see section 1, special circumstances or conditions affecting the land involved such that the strict application, the provisions of this chapter would deprive the developer of the reasonable use of his land.
I say that meets it. I mean, it was approved as a CUD. We want to build it as a CUD. But because we're wanting to mirror the land plan, it's technically a reapplication.
Mhm.
Current ordinance.
I've got a question for that.
5,000 square feet lots, and I mean, applying that 5,000 square foot minimum to something that was previously approved of less kind of just blows it up.
If it was denied, are you saying he would not be able to develop it per the approved plat?
I think it could be developed as an approved plat. It just doesn't make sense for a lot of various reasons.
Well, then so if he can develop it per the approved plat, that doesn't deny him of the reasonable use of his land.
Okay.
There's if I think Nicole has this, so there's very specific set of rules that a variance can be granted. And Stephen was saying that, he was saying that the first one says if there's a condition affecting the land involved that the strict application of the provisions of the chapter of variances would deprive the developer of reasonable use. Aesthetics, unfortunately, is not a reason that we can grant for a variance. I mean, our hands are sort of tied. We have to go by what the code of ordinances
I mean, it doesn't really
says.
say, I mean, the first item A is the reason why you can't grant a variance. And we gotta read it.
It says no variance shall be granted unless they find that they can answer.
Yeah.
Yes. to
I
all
would
the-
say, given the plat we submitted.
Mhm.
applying the 5,000 square foot minimum is depriving the developer of reasonable use of his land. It's already been approved to be developed with less.
Yeah.
I mean, get past where you could still build it
Mhm.
is what it was proved at. I mean, I'd like us just to focus on what we submitted.
I know. Well,
I would applying the
You know, but-
5,000 square foot to something, to what we submitted, to me, just is.
Well, the city council can
doing.
yeah, that's something
do
council
that.
can
We have
can
to
do, you
go
know,
by
yeah.
the ordinances as it's written and what our rules are specifically.
Right,
If-
so by the resubmitting this application, you're vacating the current approved plat and resubmitting as a brand new plat. As a brand new plat, we have to take into account all of our current development guidelines, which does not include a PUD.
Okay. Anything else? I guess probably nothing else if you don't need that.
Thank you, Stephen.
I make a motion to deny PPLT and FPLT 24-000-536 final plat for Moore Harkin.
So motion, do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion from Stephen Wilson and a second from Bill Streber. Okay, so just to recall, the vote yes is to deny. So vote
Okay.
yes is to deny. Okay. Richard Kay,
Yes.
Craig Scott,
Yes.
Bill Streber,
Yes.
Stephen Wilson,
Yes.
Nick Lorette.
Yes.
Motion to deny carries.
Reopen 4.3, table, discuss, take appropriate action on FPLT 24000538, plat of Sand Hill subdivision. Any discussion?
So yes, this one unfortunately is very similar to the other one. In the sense that there's not a lot of room for us to be subjective as a commission. There are some circumstances, but they're very extreme. The main thing is the reasonable use of land appears to apply to you when you look at it at first. And we've had very long, lengthy discussions. As you can tell, we were gone for a long time. You guys were gone for a long time. What we found though is that we believe there are solutions. We believe there may be perhaps even more than one solution that would allow you to make an adjustment to the property lines while meeting the current guidelines. So this is very similar in the sense that you vacate the original plat when you try to do a new plat. And then you have to go by the new rules. And then the new rules are pretty clear that it's 5,000 square feet density. If there were no options, I'm not sure if the discussions would have gone differently or not, but we believe that there are other options that would allow you to meet those requirements. And although we're very sympathetic to the situation, we feel that those other options should be pursued.
The other option gives Sand Hill 40,000 more feet, which we don't want. We don't want to maintain it. We don't want to landscape it,
Right.
insurance, pay the taxes on it. And this happened in 19 years ago.
Mhm.
And nobody knew about it. In general, anyway, the HOA certainly didn't know about it, and we're taking the brunt of an inadvertent
Yes,
action
right.
by the city
Right.
in 2005.
Mhm.
And it's going to take months and months, or the other developer might not want to lose 40,000 square feet.
I believe everyone on the commission sympathizes with your situation for sure. And we can relate to what you're saying and wish that this weren't the case. I think that there may have been steps that could have or should have been taken prior to it arriving here. The problem, as we've stated, is it's pretty black and white what we can do to grant a variance. And
What,
there are other options that
Please present the other option to us. Because we
Or
only
the-
know one other.
or the steps,
Yeah.
because
We'd like
our
to
only
know
other
that.
option is to go to court
Mhm.
and to take legal action about everybody that was
Yes,
in this process.
and get it all cleared up.
And I
Yeah.
think there's the options that we're discussing besides that one
Right.
was something that Dave and Nicole in the city could talk to you about and go through.
Look, we spent hours in meetings with the city coming up with a reasonable solution that we thought that everybody would accept already. With Nicole and with Dave.
Well, let me jump in there real quick. I never.
No,
I never said it was a gimme. I said it was,
Reasonable.
yeah, I mean, the issue that this commission has is you can adjust that lot line and give you guys the 5,000 square feet.
Right.
And not wanting it is simply a monetary issue. And that's where they're getting hung up, because the rule number one is that it can't be a monetary issue to them. They can't vote on it if it's simply you don't want to have higher taxes because and it's 24,600 feet. It's not 40,000 square feet.
Oh,
Yeah, so it's the adjacent landowner loses that amount of dirt, so he's out money, and you guys somehow have to pay extra taxes. So that's their dilemma, is that it ends up being a money issue is the reason for not just putting the lot line where you guys wouldn't even be in here. It would meet all our codes. And that's where they're getting tripped up, is that they're bound by that rule that it can't be a monetary issue, and that's what's hanging it up.
How about the easement issue? Now, we have 12 property owners that cannot access their property.
You guys could fix that between the two of you.
No, we'd have to go to court to do that. And the problem.
Well,
was
here's-
started by,
yeah, but-
hold on, the city of Port Aransas. First of all, that was a legal sale that was done. But the real problem here is the city of Port Aransas approved that line being drawn on an amending plat, and that's illegal. You're not allowed to move a property line on an amending
But
plat.
it's
a
not,
property
it's not,
line.
it's written
I
as a,
realize, but
it's a
for us-
common area line of delineation.
Right, but for
That's-
us, it's basically a property line for us.
I mean,
Right, but when we look at it, it's a property, it's a line of delineation for a common area.
even
It's-
if,
it says it
you
on
did put a lot line in there, you guys still have documents that state that there's a common area issue. So you have to fix that common area issue regardless of us moving a lot line. That common area issue is gonna exist, even if we ship that lot line away from it. That doesn't move that common area issue. That's in your condo docs. So that's still a legal issue that you guys are gonna have to hammer out regardless of us shifting this lot line.
The HOA in 2005 agreed, probably incorrectly or whatever, to move the common area line. I've got the document, it's recorded that the HOA agreed to move that line where it is. Then the owner sold it with meets and downs based on that lot line,
Based on the common area lot line,
based on
on
the
the
lot.
common area line, not.
Yeah, well-
I will refrain from calling it a lot line.
Right, and so that's the portion that caused the problem. Having that line in there in 2005 caused you no problems for that entire 19 years until that property was sold. And then that causes your problem.
Even if it. Okay, even if it wasn't sold, it might cause problems with the title companies and being able to sell.
But it hasn't.
Because the average,
So can I, stick in, I'll step in real quick. My name's Kelly McCann. You guys know me, 1418 Whispering Sands. So I like to do things linearly, right? So we'll just drop this down to A, B, C, and D. Are there special circumstances or conditions affecting the land that the strict application of this would deprive the developer of reasonable use of the land? Right? That's a determination by y'all. Right? Reasonable use is determined by council and by y'all and by us. And I would say that I believe it's unreasonable use of the land. And they believe it's unreasonable use of the land. So I think we check that box. It's just up to you to determine whether or not reasonable, what does that mean? So I would say A, it meets the criteria. B, the variance is necessary for the preservation and enjoyment of a substantial property right. Yeah, we can't use the property if it's like this, it's encumbered. They can't
Which
use
property are you representing right now when you're speaking?
the developer side.
The developer side?
Yeah.
Okay, so.
But also the developer, what's interesting about this is it's not a single developer, it's two entities that are requesting this. Normally just be one guy. But so we have to consider the HOA and the townhome owners because they have a substantial property right. So does this variance, is it necessary to preserve their enjoyment? Well, the enjoyment of sale, that's actual land right? It's the enjoyment to sell your property. So it does, without this variance, we do deprive them of that enjoyment.
No, I don't think so. I think that this is one pathway that you could take to get there.
No, but
Perhaps, and
it's
we
not
don't-
saying, this is where I'm getting at. It doesn't have to meet another criteria. You can say there's 15 different ways, but does this way meet these 4 criteria? And it does, and I'm gonna go down it. The pathway may not be, there could be 15 other ways, but does it meet it? And that's what the question really is like, okay, does it deprive them of enjoyment? It does do that if we don't grant this variance. Because they can't sell their property, it's encumbered. And then the granting variance will not be detrimental to public health or safety or welfare. Nope, it's not detrimental. The granting variance will not have effect preventing orderly subdivision. No, actually, it corrects it, makes it better. So A, B, C, and D are all, it meets, our proposal may not be ideal, but it meets the criteria to pass planning and zoning because it meets this ordinance. And then it goes to city council and they say, because that's an opinion-based organization, like, yeah, we don't think our reasonable use is not your reasonable use. They have that right.
I think
And
the
so-
point is that it's not an opinion. We're not forming opinions or being subjective. We're following a set of rules that we have to follow as a commission. That's the hard part.
But yeah, I guess what I'm saying is,
So there are other ways to enjoy the property. This
but it's not
denying the
asking,
variance is not preventing that from happening.
it isn't, but the question of a variance, the variance is not, hey, there's 15 different variances to choose from. In fact, you're supposed to throw all of those out. It's supposed to be, this variance is being proposed.
Mhm.
The single solitary variance. Does it meet these 4 criteria? That's the job of P and Z. Does it meet these 4 criteria? Because P and Z doesn't vote, do we like it? Do we not? What's other solutions? What's this? It's just, doesn't meet the criteria. And it does. And then city council can be like, yeah, get it out of here because that's not reasonable to us, or that's whatever. But like, I haven't had to sit behind that desk, but I've been in a lot of these meetings, and it sucks to be in this position. But what I enjoy about P and Z is the non-political nature of it. Like, it is black and white. And so if we say, hey, this variance meets the criteria on this paper, which I think we've proven it meets the criteria. There's other ones that meet it better or would meet it as well. But this variance does meet A, B, C, and D. Is that correct?
Well, I think after a lengthy discussion between council and the city attorney, we don't agree with what you're saying. We don't agree that it meets all of the criteria. If we
So
did,
let's go
we would-
through it,
We would
right?
be having a different discussion.
So are there special circumstances or conditions affecting the land involved such that the strict application, which means we're not using a strict application, right? Using the strict application would deprive the developer of reasonable use, developer being the HOA and us. So it's saying, are there strict, because you need a variance, like a 5,000 square foot would be a strict variance. Is there a strict variance that you got to break to make it so that it would not deprive the developer and the HOA of the land? That's it. Yes, that's a yes. Can we all agree that that's a yes?
No.
No. Okay. So there is not a special circumstance. Okay. And, okay,
Really?
I didn't think there was I thought there was a special circumstance, but maybe not.
This is a special situation for sure, but it's not, doesn't mean that it's a planning and zoning special circumstance.
What?
That's,
Okay, well, then, yeah, I guess we're at a fundamental, because I feel like the special circumstance or conditions affecting the land. Okay. Additionally, what I would like to say is, there was a infrastructure permit that had been, I rephrase to say, use the word permit because they don't even use infrastructure permits now. Permission was given to the developer to construct 30 units at 3,000 square feet, and all the infrastructure was put in place for that. They were at 3,000 square feet apiece. That was back in the, John, how long ago? So that square lot is already subdivided by infrastructure at those 3,000 square foot limits. And prior to that, and even today, it's an email giving you permission to put that in. And generally, infrastructure does grandfather you in. From my experience, grandfathers you in to ordinances that are going to change because that was approved prior. Is that something to take into consideration at all?
I don't
I
think
would-
for
It
this
sounds
year.
like
I would
a
refer
separate
to,
issue
yeah.
that it may have validity or may not, I don't know, but that doesn't sound like that issue.
I don't think that's
pertains
applicable to this variant.
variance.
Well, what it would do is it would say that all the lots that are on the left of that road that you can't see there were approved at 3,000. And so it would imply if those were approved, that the others were approved because they're already there. Like that infrastructure was put in after the townhomes.
Where is that plan?
Well, that would be, if you wanted to pursue that, that would be through the permit vesting ordinance. And so you would submit a separate application to the Planning and Zoning Commission for a permit vesting to see if you qualify for the permit vesting rule.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, it sounds like Brian Deeth, 1833 South 11th again. I just want you guys to know, I appreciate your time again. We took it upon ourselves, 18 owners, Sandhill, to work out a solution to keep hundreds of thousands of dollars of legal fees out of the pockets of homeowners, Sandhill, to try to come to a resolution that everyone was on board with in our neighborhood. And we personally think it meets the criteria. It's a shame today that we're going to have to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars in legal fees to come to a resolution when we know that there are many people that helped to cause this problem, and none of them were Sandhill owners. You know, taxpayers that pay a lot of taxes, you know, like John and I and our other 16 owners. And it's a shame that we couldn't get more help from the P&Z. That's all I'm gonna say.
Thank you. Anybody else? Any more discussion? Motion?
I make a motion to deny the variance for FPLT 24-000538, plat of Sandhill subdivision block 1, lots 1R and 2R. Applicant Cartographic Industries LLC and PGC's Beach Break RV Park LLC. And Sandhill Townhomes HOA. Property location 732 Sandcastle Drive and 1833 South 11th Street.
I second that motion.
So we've got a motion from Richard Kay and a second from Stephen Wilson. Bill Strieber, remember, vote yes is to deny. William Strieber, yes.
Yes.
Okay, Craig Scott,
Yes.
Richard Kay,
Yes.
Stephen Wilson,
Yes.
Nick Lorette,
Yes.
motion to deny carried.
Item 5. Planning and Zoning Commission comments and items for future consideration.
I don't have anything. I do want to take this opportunity to introduce you guys to Tess Clark. Today is her very first day.
Well,
She is going to be taking my position.
Welcome.
Yeah, looking forward to working with you.
Just trial by fire today.
Right.
All right, that's all we have for you guys.
Thank you, sir, for thank you. Appreciate it. Yeah, thank you. I'm glad we hadn't had you that much before. Yeah.
All right, so we just need a adjournment next.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Feel like Chad.
I know.
Adjourn.
No, you can throw it away.
It's okay to put it in there.
Yep.
Like Colby, Shallow, just want to solve the same one.
Let me turn off the.
I really suspect.
Let me turn off all the recording.